It's Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder. Now, 92 KQRS.
Good morning. Gorman in the morning with Fletcher. Paul Fletcher, good morning, brother.
Hi, how are you?
It's good to see you. And, of course, Ryder on hand. Ryder, good morning, dear.
Let's go. Show number one.
Brian Gass.
Shall we bring our own ass to the party? I think the answer is yes. Paul, who let you in the building? How did you get here?
It was a mistake by somebody.
Wow. Do you
Yeah.
have a fob yet? That's really the key.
I actually did get a fob.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And Ryder did tell me, though, make sure it works while there's people in the building.
Absolutely. Good to have you along, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It's cool to be a part of this for sure. Where we're going, it's exciting to say the least.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
First things first, as per usual, the KQ Talk and Text line, Minnesota's KQRS would love to hear from you, 651-989-ROCK. And I'm very happy to read the first text of the new show from Walter, who texted in recently, please play Someone to Shove. I missed that song.
Oh, don't tempt me.
You never know. And of course, I also want to hear a lot of texts from everybody. My favorite of the day is actually this one. You dumbasses better be good. All right. And with that, we are off and running. I've been in the Twin Cities now for a few years. And believe me when I say the enormous legacy of this station could not have ever been clearer to me.
Yeah.
And we believe very sincerely the most respectful way to honor that legacy is to move forward with real energy and with a new vision of what rock radio in the Twin Cities will be. And that's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
I believe rock music will forever be a very relevant cultural force. Call me crazy.
No, I agree.
But only with continued evolution. We can't sit still. And by the way, I don't know if everybody's aware of this. Minnesota has contributed mightily to the musical landscape of this country and, in fact, this planet in the last few decades. Minnesota has been punching way above its weight, musically speaking, for decades and decades.
Damn straight.
And I am very excited to bring a renewed focus to a lot of Minnesota music on this station. It's overdue, in my opinion, and I look very forward to that. We are all, in case you can't tell, very excited about where we're going, and we're very happy to know that a lot of our listeners are going to join us. And by the way, we also know that there are plenty of people who've loved the station for decades who might not be thrilled, and we get it. We totally get that. Whatever you're looking for, you can find it. And we hope you're looking for what we're bringing you right now, because this is going to be fun. What do they say about life, guys? It's actually about the journey, not the destination.
All right.
Right? So, and that's absolutely true in any sort of creative endeavor, anything where you're trying to have a good time. The point is to have a good time as you go.
100%.
So as we're ramping this sucker up, as I said before, we really hope that you will enjoy being with us, and we hope you'll stick around for that.
And to touch on one thing that you said at the beginning of that, I'm going to quote our Billy Bean, Moneyball. We've talked about Moneyball. Adapt or die.
Adapt or die. Wow, we're going straight to the Oakland A's.
Yeah.
Are they still alive?
They're not. Are they in Vegas?
Oh, my God.
Let's take them back. Can we take them back to Oakland? Is it too soon for that?
Speaking of baseball.
Opening day.
How about that? Opening homer today.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Anybody going? Ryder, you going to be there?
No.
Be honest.
No.
Yeah, no. I'm not either.
Yeah.
It's like going to be 43 degrees.
Yeah, I love a good game of baseball when it's at least 60 degrees.
Yes.
Call me crazy.
Yes.
My first day of Little League as a kid, it was very cold, and just catching a ball hurt my hand so much, and that's when I realized I'm really down for hot baseball, cold baseball, not so much.
Yeah, it's got to be. You know what though? You get the right weather, like a Saturday afternoon game at Target Field. It's tough to beat for sure.
It's absolutely the best. So this build up, as I said, over the last few weeks, I've really loved hearing from so many listeners who are just foaming at the mouth to tell us their opinion. Keep it up. 651-989-ROCK is the number to call in and or text. And by the way, looking at it right now already, everybody's so happy to hear Ryder's voice. Look at that. A lot of love for Ryder in the building.
Aw.
Isn't that great? And here's another great text. Already hate the music change. Right on. Here we go. We're moving forward, people.
Yes.
Very excited about this. So wherever you are, we certainly hope you dig it. And especially if you're in Chanhassen. We want to start with Chanhassen, the home of his royal badness. Let's just start with that. You know what to do with that information.
Not a bad spot to start.
It's Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder, 92 KQRS.
That was Led Zeppelin, a band from England you may be familiar with.
No kidding.
A lot of swing in that band. My boy John Bonham was swinging like an absolute beast back there.
Oh, yeah.
Anywhere I go, you're going to hear Led Zeppelin. Just a little breadcrumb for you, okay, as we move forward. Make no mistake, there's always Led Zeppelin in the pockets, anywhere you find me. My wife, Rosemary's first concert in 1977 when she was 12 years old was Led Zeppelin.
So jealous.
On the Presence Tour. She told me that in 1989, and my response was, "Will you marry me?" That's a true story. Now, she didn't say yes, of course. It was years before we were just hanging out. We're having a burrito and a beer, and we're talking. And I said, my first concert was Heart in 1978 when Heart was still rocking. Because by the late 80s, Heart was more of a pop band. Paul, what do you got?
My first show?
Yeah.
So I've actually got two, because one is the one that I was brought to by Mom and Dad.
That's the one that counts.
Beach Boys at the State Fair.
Oh, ditto.
Could be worse.
Really?
Yeah, like when I was like 5 years old.
What year? Same concert. Let's find out.
Early 80s. I don't know exactly what year.
Mine would have been like mid-90s. Uncle Jesse was behind the drum kit.
Oh, yeah. No, there was no Uncle Jesse when I went. It was early 80s, and it was, and we went every year for quite a while because the Beach Boys were there every year for a while.
Wow.
But here's the thing, though. The first show I went to, myself, changed everything for me. In fact, it's the reason I'm sitting here right now.
Yeah.
Lollapalooza 92, Harriet Island, Pearl Jam. It was hot as hell.
Yeah.
Holding our hands up in the air, we found we got a breeze off of our arms down to us. Massive crowd out on Harriet Island.
That'll do it.
I mean, the whole thing, you had Soundgarden and the Chili Peppers and stuff. It was, an unbelievable bill as a whole, but we were there for Pearl Jam. And again, a day that changed my life forever. The way I listen to music, the way I sought music, everything changed that day. And again, if not for that, it was whatever I was hand fed prior to then.
Got it.
That's when I started thinking for myself. And if not for that day and that album,
dig it.
I'm not sitting here.
Yeah, Heart was my first concert, but not by design. It was a surprise. It was like, honestly, getting on a trip with a buddy and his mom. There was three 8th grade boys, and his mom, who was nothing like my mom, said, "Oh, there's a concert next door. Do you boys want to go see it? It's Heart." And we were like, "Huh?" I was like, "Oh my God, that's the coolest mom on earth." And she handed us $30 and said, "This should be enough." And the tickets were like $8 each, and it was enough. Ryder.
Did you know who Heart was?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
But actually, you know what? Technically, the opening artist is who I first saw. So actually, now that I think about it, I have to give credit to Walter Egan, who had a hit called Magnet and Steel at the time.
What?
It was a crazy time, the late 70s, clearly. It was 2 years before I made it to another concert, and that concert was in my own backyard.
Sure.
Oddly enough, Kool and the Gang, number 2. On the ladies' night tour.
You kind of went
nice.
You went like reverse order of what I did.
Yeah.
It was Beach Boys, then Pearl Jam. You went Heart, then Kool and the Gang, kind of.
Kool and the Gang they were getting it, man. Jones versus Jones, the tear-jerker, the divorce song. Even as a 10th grader, I was like, this is kind of moving me. It's pretty good stuff.
Were they
here,
good?
man.
Were they good?
They were incredible.
Yeah,
they were
I can imagine.
badass, man. Celebrate. I mean, it was apex Kool and the Gang. Now, the shows I didn't go to but had tickets offered to me. True story. I had Queen tickets in my hand.
Oh no!
A month after the Heart gig, Thanksgiving night, couldn't go. I've told that story. I've told that story on the air before. Jazz tour, 1978. Thanksgiving night, it's an hour drive. My sister gets a pinched nerve in her neck and can't drive, and neither of my parents step up and say, "We'll take you."
Oh, bummer.
That's just not how Don and Imelda rolled after a hard day of Thanksgiving preparation, eating, and then cleaning. And I sat there that night just staring at these tickets going, I can't believe this. I'm still not over it.
Did you ever see Queen?
No, never.
Wow.
No.
Well, we can be in that club again together, though. I never got to see them either. So.
My buddy Mike Joyner made me an offer at school one day. Hey, man, let's go to Cincinnati to see The Who. And I said, I'm in. And then my parents said, no, you're not. And he and his sister were in that scrum when the kids were killed. I would have been in that stampede had I gone. They were fine. They got out. They were cool.
Wow.
But that's one of those where I'm like, it was probably good I didn't see The Who that
dodged.
day. Yeah, I would have been right there in the middle of it trying to I would have turned into like Red Cross volunteer guy. I would have been in shock. Let me help. And then that would have been it. And people would be sitting around going, Steve was a good kid.
What town was that in? That
Cincinnati.
Show? Cincinnati, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking proximity to Chicago, although Eddie Vedder might have been in San Diego by then. But I was going to say, if Chicago, Eddie Vedder might have been at that Cincinnati show. The Who's his band. That's his band.
And there's your Eddie Vedder reference for the day.
There's going to be a lot of Eddie and Pearl Jam through the mornings the next few days,
just
weeks,
remember,
months.
I can turn your mic off, okay? I mean, full respect, but there's quotas. There's limits to my Pearl Jam acceptance
I won't.
rate.
You know what? It's a healthy obsession. I don't think I'll ever go over the quota. I'm not worried about it.
Fair enough. Hey, you can find the Gorman in the Morning podcast anywhere you listen, anytime you want. Sponsored by Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies.
It's Gorman in the Morning with Fletcher and Ryder, 92 KQRS.
651-651-989. Rock!
Oh, yeah.
Took me a second there. You go away for a couple weeks, and all of a sudden you can't remember your own phone number. That's kind of weird how that works.
You know what? It's a bike. Just keep riding.
That's a very good point. Yeah, no.
Believe in yourself.
And by the way, I have fallen off many a bicycle. My first... I've had a bicycle injury that resulted in a broken bone.
Oh, bummer.
I've had a skateboard injury that resulted in a broken bone.
That's badass.
Okay, well, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Bike?
Greatest bicycle incident I ever saw was my buddy popped a wheelie, and as he did it, the front tire just blew off his bike.
See you bye.
And he was able to ride that wheelie, and he just had to keep riding it for a really long time because he panicked. And
Like a unicycle?
yeah, basically turn it into a unicycle.
Takes...
The Schwinn, the banana seat, the old 5-speed. Yeah, those are
banana seats, too, if you're not careful.
Yeah, the blue sparkle.
Do serious
damage. Some serious damage. We were talking earlier about first concerts. I love some of these on the text line. This one came in. My first concert was Helen Reddy with my mom and sisters. Mom was swinging her bra, belting out "I Am Woman."
Yeah, Mom.
Hell yeah, Mom. Get after it.
I like that.
My first concert was Parents with John Denver in 1972 in Loring Park.
All right.
Wow.
I didn't. John Denver in Loring Park. Wow.
Sunshine on my shoulders over in Loring Park. That's pretty spectacular.
It's too bad that guy was so full of crap, though, man.
Well, who?
That John Denver's full of crap, man.
Was
Sorry.
he?
I'm just quoting Dumb and Dumber.
Oh,
sorry.
I've seen it, of course, but that just wouldn't have wouldn't have come back up.
Well,
my favorite text of the day: "Hey, the new KQ show sucks ass. I'm forever switching to a new channel. Thanks for being in touch."
I'm looking forward to the follow-up text.
I hope that guy wasn't in Spring Lake Park because we love you, Spring Lake Park. Want to give you a quick little tip of the cap to our many, many friends in Spring Lake Park. Hey, guess what? At about 8:20 today, Dave Perner is going to be with us on the show. Dave Perner from a band called Soul Asylum.
I like to call him Minnesota music royalty is what I like to call him.
That would check out.
Yeah.
I like to call him Dave.
Or that.
No
Dave,
kidding.
His mom called him Dave, I believe, yeah.
Hang Time was the first Soul Asylum record that really took over my life. I was aware of them before Hang Time, but when that one came out, the first time I heard it, I was just like, okay, I'm fully committed to this band now.
That was a breakthrough for sure.
At a time when I was still obsessed with the music scene of a city I'd never been to in the late 80s. I didn't get to Minneapolis till 1990, but I spent most of the 80s wishing I was in Minneapolis because all of the music coming out of this city at that time was just mind-bogglingly great to me. And Soul Asylum was and remains a very big part of that. Dave Perner at 8:20. You know what I call that? I just call that badass.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, off the back of somebody to shove, we had to have Dave in.
I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the only thing, to me, that makes perfect sense. We're also going to be talking about, we talked about first concerts. What about concert pet peeves? How about concert pet peeves? Do you have any? I got a long list.
As a short person, I have many.
Ooh, yeah, that's tough. I never even think of it like that.
Blanket statement for me is just the drummer. I'm kidding. I'm not trying to, you know what? I just ruined the vibe. Do you want me to see myself out?
Gorman in the Morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the Morning is back. 92 KQRS.
I met Dave Grohl in 1994, about 3 or 4 months after Cobain's death.
Okay.
Ooh,
My little rock and roll combo, the Black Crowes, we were shooting a video in Los Angeles, getting ready for our third album to come out. There's a song called A Conspiracy, and we were on a set making a video, so I'm miserable because I hated nothing more in life than making music videos.
Yeah.
And it's like in a soundstage in LA, right in Hollywood. And I just look over, and this dude's walking across this giant space, and I'm like, is that the drummer from Nirvana? Like, that's that guy. And he was with at the time, his first wife. And I stood up and walked over. I go, hey, man. He goes, hey, man. And we had said hi a couple years earlier at the 1992 MTV Video Music Awards. We had the sort of, hey, dude, but we didn't chat. But I walked over and I said, hey, how's it going? He goes, hey, what's up, man? I was next door in a studio and someone said you guys were here making a video. I just thought I'd come over. I'm like, yeah, right on. And I looked at him and I was just immediately overcome with such sadness. I was like, oh my God, this poor guy's still this is, again, the summer. So Cobain died in April. This is like July.
Right.
And I was like, oh man, it must be just awful being He's still, but he was in great spirits. He was, he's having a day. And so I thought, well, should I say anything or not? And I'm all of a sudden I'm in my own head about it. And later, he was there for probably like an hour. And we were just talking about, bowling. We're talking about all the normal stuff you talk about. It was great. And then as he was leaving, I said, hey, dude, I'm sorry, man. I just got to say, I'm so sorry. I've been thinking about you a lot. Like, I know I don't know you, but you've been on my mind. And he goes, thanks, man. No one ever says anything about it. And I was like,
wow.
Yeah,
you made the right choice.
Well, young rockers are kind of dumb. And so, but we've been buddies ever since. And, so I've been to a bunch of Foo Fighters shows, and I'll say it without a reservation. Too loud, man. I have lost so much of my hearing, and I think half of it has been from the 9 Foo Fighters shows I've seen. And I go to the soundboard. I'll go to the soundboard because that's where you would think it sounds the best at
Absolutely.
the soundboard. And I will be like, I can't. I got to cover my ears. I mean, it's mind-splittingly loud. Every Fighters show I've ever seen.
I have to agree. I think I've seen them 3 times, something like that. But it's almost mind-splitting. Like it splits your eardrums in half.
My favorite Foo Fighters moment, I guess, at a gig. I went to see them in Memphis in 2011, maybe. And me and a buddy drove over from Nashville to Memphis, and we get there, and we walk in, and I walk into the dressing room, and there's Dave just standing there. At the time, no one else in the band was in the room, and they are as you hear, the nicest band ever. They're just everyone's welcome. They're accommodating. Everybody in the band always is so in a good mood, and like all bands, they have their issues, but around outsiders, it's just, hey, man, a smile and a professionalism and good to have you, very welcoming. And I walk into the dressing room, and I see Dave. Hey, man, big hug. I say, this is my friend Joe. Joe, this is Dave. And I look over Dave's shoulder, and in the corner, there's a woman sitting in a chair. And I'm like, that's Winona Judd.
What?
One of the Judds, the daughter of the Judds.
Sure.
And I don't know her, but I know who she is. And I said, and as I'm kind of hugging Dave, I go, Dave, What's Winona Judd doing here? And he says to me, I don't know, but she's really nice. And I go, what? And he goes, yeah, we just heard she was coming, and she's just hanging out. And then I went over and introduced myself, and she was awesome. She was hilarious. Sure. But a little later, this was the thing I'm getting to. Motorhead was opening on that tour.
No.
And a few minutes after that, I just looked across the room, and there's Dave Grohl and Lemmy and Winona Judd all standing there, all holding drinks and all laughing about something. And I was like, if I were not as cool as I am, I would take a picture of that. I just loved Lemmy and Dave and Winona, and I was like, but that's kind of how it is. If you're hanging out with the Foos, everybody's welcome. It's
I was
cool.
just going to say that's a comment on how great they are and how good the band is too. I would piggyback on that. 98, 99, I can't remember exactly the year. Saw him at the 97. Sorry, Roy Wilkins Auditorium.
Okay.
Dave had to actually, the manager of the band of the Foos had to literally come and pull Dave out of the crowd of the post-show meet and greet thing. That's normally a cattle call type thing. This was just a hang. A circle had formed around Dave. He's storytelling. Manager guy said, Dave, the bus has to leave. Yeah, right. Literally grabbed him by the shoulder and pulled, and he kept talking as he's pulling him away from.
Sure.
It was so it just speaks to like exactly what you were saying.
He's an excitable sort. He's an excitable sort.
I haven't seen him much since, so I don't know.
A fan of the band, nice guys, but my concert pet peeve, they, as I've already touched upon, just too loud. And I get it. I'm an old man on my porch, but my ears can only take so much more loudness in my life. Ryder.
Are you starting to wear earplugs like you should be?
No, of course not.
What?
No,
it ruins everything.
My first tour, the first big tour the Black Crowes did was opening for Aerosmith in 1990. And the drummer, Joey Kramer, one day came up to me without any prompting.
Yeah.
And he just walks over and he goes, hey, man, I'll tell you 2 things. Save all your money and wear earplugs. And he just walked away. And I was like, no.
Yes, Joey Kramer.
You can't tell me how to live, Joey Kramer.
You are burying the lead, though.
What?
That Boston accent was fantastic.
No, I can't. I know too many people from Boston. If I think about it, I can't do it. Maybe I got it. But,
I thought it was pretty wicked good.
It's
pretty
solid.
It was
difficult.
solid. It was solid.
It's tough, man. But that's it, Ryder. You go to a lot of shows. I
wear earplugs like everybody should, and I got real nice ones too. So
no, that's it. One of these days I'll get around to it. But general pet peeves with concerts.
I got a guy. Because I'm a short person, so there's a bunch of them related to that. It's the dude who's like 6'5" and stands directly in front of me.
Question: how tall are you?
I'm 5'6".
Okay.
And so there are much shorter people.
I was going to say, by the way, since I've been in Minnesota, what I've realized is, man, we're short down south. Because I see You would be skying over the average concert crowd in Nashville, Tennessee, anywhere in the South. I've said this before, at least once a day, I see a woman in this town who's look at me in the eye. I'm 6'3".
Oh, yeah.
And I see 6-footers every single day. That doesn't exist down south. I'm here to tell you. If they do, they're volleyball players or basketball players. But just a gal walking down the grocery store, I'm like, man, Minnesota grows them tall.
I lived in Fresno for a while, and I was like a sequoia there.
Yeah.
Dude.
Good California reference, too.
Yeah. I like that you didn't go Redwood. You went Sequoia.
Yeah,
that's pretty strong.
That takes effort right there.
So,
my mom's got one brother, 3 sisters, 2. My mom is 5, shorter than you, Ryder, actually.
Yeah.
Both sisters are over 6 feet, to your point.
Yeah.
What?
It's crazy. Yeah. And they one of them bred basketball players. Shocking.
Nice. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I
Contribution.
have one tall sister and one short sister, and then all the boys were tall. I'm the runt. I mean, it's just
That's
it was what it was.
unbelievable to
My
me.
mom was 5'3".
No.
And she,
Oh, wow.
oh yeah, she's a small woman.
Oh, wow.
She was, but she bred them big.
That's
you know?
Yeah. You know what? The only thing that drives me nuts, it's the low-hanging fruit. It's the easiest one in the world. Put your phone away. That said, I don't get bothered
at concerts. Gotcha.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going back to the concert pet peeves.
Yeah.
Not a lot bothers me because I'm totally into the appreciate the show however you want to appreciate the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be mindful of other people.
Yep.
As a friend of mine said, adhere to the social contract.
Yep.
Right? But just like when it's nothing but screens in front of you, and it is actually very distracting.
I saw the Jack White's band, the Raconteurs, who come around every so often. They played at I saw them a few years ago, and that was the first rock concert I've been to where they did the comedy club thing. Turn your phone in as you enter in that pouch where you cannot.
Pouch.
Yeah. And a lot of people were complaining about it, and then it takes about one song for everyone to realize, oh my God,
so much better without it.
This is the best way to see a concert.
But sometimes my cheat code as a shorter person
Right.
is to watch the show through other taller people's phones.
Oh man, that's rough.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for somebody to ever, the day after a concert, go back and watch the footage they shot more than once. You're just filming concerts. Why? I'm with you there. Put the phone down. Be
like
there.
For what we do. Like I need to capture it. It's not like my phone isn't out at all ever.
Yeah, right.
But it's like you're never gonna go back and watch those videos. It's gonna sound like garbage and it's gonna look okay.
It doesn't work that way. 651-989-ROCK is the talk and text line. If you have a concert pet peeve you want to share with us, feel free. Generally speaking, my concert pet peeve is concerts. I just don't like going to them. I'm sorry. I'm spoiled. I've been to too many. I've played too many. If I'm going, I need parking and side stage access. Or although I do like the KQ suite over at the XL. I mean, that, if I got like that, if I can be somewhere. But standing on the floor in a throng of fans surrounded by people.
Sweating?
Doesn't work for me.
Yeah,
I'm fine in a club, but a festival or a big arena show like that, no, I can't. I just can't do it. I'm totally cool being around 500 sweaty people, but 15,000 does not work for me. It's not going to work.
It's Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder, 92 KQRS.
The Replacements, that, my friends, is an iconic American band who happen to be from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'll just say this, and this is not false humility or any BS, but my former band, the Black Crowes, nominated this year for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And the first thing I said, we were going on air, and it came out, like I found out 2 minutes before we started the show in the morning. And the first thing I said was, okay, great, but seriously, how can the Replacements not be in there already?
I vaguely remember that.
That's the top band on of all the people I think should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that aren't, that is number one and will forever be number one. Because I can say this without hesitation, because I'm not from here. I wasn't here when the Replacements started and when they got going and when they blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. There is not a musician of my generation that I know, a rock musician, who wasn't either inspired by the Replacements or when they discovered them after the fact went, oh my God, how have I lived without this band?
I've said that to so many of my friends that don't know the Replacements or whatever, because you know the knowledge of them is far less than their reach as an inspiration to others. I'm like, you can't even count how many bands that they've influenced.
The Ramones have never had a platinum album. That's a fact.
Really?
Not one of their albums ever sold 1 million copies. The Replacements are also on that list. But the number of bands the Velvet Underground. I mean, there are all these bands that have influenced.
They're so
revered
revered too.
They're responsible. When I hear that song, Can't Hardly Wait, I'm right away. It's 1987. I've just moved to Atlanta, Georgia. I've just bought my first drum kit, and oh my God, the Replacements' new album is out. And me and about 9 other musicians at the time from local bands sat in our house and listened to that album start to finish, side 1, side 2, back and forth, straight through, without exaggeration, 4 or 5 times, just letting it wash over us. And then when that song came on, the album closer, I was like, wait, there's a Memphis horns on a Replacements record? What the hell? I mean, the idea that there was a horn section, and it made perfect sense. The great Jim Dickinson produced that album and produced the hell out of Pleased to Meet Me. The Replacements, when I first heard them, I was a college kid. What they made me want to do was start a band.
Nice.
I just heard the Replacements, as we all know, 3 minutes ago, and it makes me want to start a band.
Yeah.
All right.
I hear that band, and I'm like,
that band?
oh my God, if I could only come up with a band name.
You should do that. We should make that a bit. Why don't you let the people name your band?
We were talking. We've tried. Stop. Don't. You're going to piss me off.
Sorry.
We were talking about concert pet peeves, and a lot of people who saw the Replacements in the '80s would say, "Oh, that was the worst show I ever saw." I saw one of the worst shows ever, and it was the best show ever. I saw them in Nashville. Might have made it through 6 songs before they had to give up the ghost. Too drunk to play.
Yeah.
Bob made it 3 songs, and then Bob Stinson was gone. They played a few songs as a 3-piece, and then laughingly just walked off stage. And I was one of the people there going, yes!
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
I wanted one of the all-time great train wreck Replacement shows, and I got one of them. The next time I saw them, they were one of the greatest rock and roll bands I've ever seen, and I was like, I can't believe this is the same band. They were just the yin and yang all at once.
Do you think their exclusion from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is their refusal to play the game? Do you think that that approach, that mindset?
No. It's because they didn't sell enough records. Because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has just been run by people who they don't have a lot of those bands in. There aren't too many bands. No band is in there. I would imagine
they're all establishment minded though. And the Replacements are like, screw that. We don't. And so I just wonder if that perception is.
The Replacements' attitude may have led to people overlooking them, but that's not. No one at the Hall of Fame is going, screw them. They didn't play the game. I think they're saying, but they're not big enough. But it's all connected. Yes, it's not direct cause and effect, but it's pretty close. Ryder, what were you going to say?
Are they going to get that kind of the thing where they don't really get inducted, but they put them in after the fact, kind of one of those legacy induction type those things? You know what I'm talking about?
They either way, they certainly should be there. I'll say this. I can't tell. The story of rock and roll involves the Replacements in terms of, again, because of what came in their wake, the number of people, and not just here, but around the world that went, they heard Sorry Ma, or they heard Tim, or they heard Let It Be, or they heard Pleased to Meet Me, and just went, the number of people that heard those records and went, I think I'm going to have to go do that. And they turned out to be formidable, very, very big artists. It's countless. And so for that alone, for an influence alone, the Replacements are they're top shelf all time, in my opinion.
It's tone deaf, if you ask me. Just because if you're not, you should be able to absorb all of what you just said, and that should be the case that is made. You shouldn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't. You know what? True form would be wait until all of them die, and then posthumously. How do you say that word again? Posthumously.
Posthumously.
That's
it.
They will. They'll throw them in and say, "Oh yeah, here you go. Put you in the Hall of Fame now."
Is there a drinking Hall of Fame, and are the Replacements in that?
They should be. I'm sure that.
You have to. Yes, there is, and there's a secret password.
What is it?
And it's Westerberg, Stinson, Mars. You have to say those names in order, and then you get into the Drinkers Hall of Fame. Jeez, oh Pete. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ talk and text line. What bugs you at a concert? We've got a few good ones up there. The smoking thing. Smoking at concerts. It seems like we're relaxing the smoking vibe at concerts. Is that just me?
It depends on what you're smoking.
Well, that's very true.
Because cigarettes, no go.
Yeah, Marlboro Red, no. We'll threaten you with jail. But if you want to fire up a bong, let her rip, man.
Basically. I've seen security guards kind of shrug as they see somebody pulling out their bowl or whatever.
Sure.
I mean, that smell is a part of the experience, man.
The first time I smelled pot was at my first concert. I went to see Heart. We talked about it earlier. I was in 8th grade. and I was sitting at the in this giant Enormo Dome, as they call it, a big arena, and me and two buddies were all 3 8th-grade boys trying to act cool as if we knew what to do and as if we'd been there before. And the dude in front of us turned around at some point and he goes, "You guys don't want to hit this?" And he ordered a joint in his hand. And all three of us were like, "No, we're cool, man." But what we actually said was, "Oh my God," we freaked out. But it was a big deal for us to just like, "Oh, that's that smell. That's pot."
That's what that.
And I remember, and hey, how about this? I remember my kids grew up hanging out at Black Crow shows. They wouldn't be in the dressing room at certain times of the day, but they'd be around and, on the bus or whatever. And they were probably like 10 and 8 or 11 and 9, my son and daughter. And they'd been at shows their whole lives. And at some point we were somewhere and somebody had a joint, and not at a Black Crow show, like at a completely other place.
Sure.
And all of a sudden my daughter went, "Wait, Dad, that smells like your dressing room." And I just looked at her, and then my son goes, "Wait, that's what that smell is? Pot?" Like they were like, "Oh my God!" They might have been a little younger. They knew enough to know that pot was what the bad teenagers did, and then suddenly they made the connection. That's what Dad's world smells like. It's like, that's a good moment.
Yeah,
that's kind of nice.
Wholesome.
There's the moment they
sharing,
realized Santa
bonding.
wasn't real, and the moment they realized that that's what pot smells like. Oh, all the happy moments of the family. Hey, here's a happy moment. The 2025 Tee It Up Golf Cart number 3 presented by Club Champion is on sale right now. You can golf 7 area courses and save over $200. Text the word golf to 651-989-ROCK.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Paul Fletcher, we're a couple hours in. You hanging in okay, buddy? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. The Queen goal song for the Minnesota Frost. Got to give a shout out to the Minnesota Frost. Their women's
I was
professional
wondering
team.
why I was picturing women on skates, and that's why. That's why.
But that's like, it's such an odd song, but it works great.
Aren't you supposed to say the champion Minnesota Frost?
That's correct.
That's right.
First year in.
Reigning
It was a blast.
champions.
Yeah, it was a super blast. Hey, so I got to just get something off my chest really quick.
Oh, God. Okay,
Lay it out straight. I was born and raised.
Here we go.
Born and raised in this state, in this town, right?
Nice.
I've always loved music and radio. KQRS has been a voice, a staple of the culture of the Twin Cities for as long as I've been alive, and always a mainstay in our household, I might add. And change is good, right?
Of course.
I'm beyond grateful to be here. I just want to say that. And well, you know what? I got to establish and just say I am. I'm grateful. A younger me would have been like, whatever. But I'm grateful. I'm so stoked for this new chapter, and I can see how some aren't. I understand that, and I feel that, right?
Sure.
But I also can see how this is just going to be such a great step forward. We've got a great group assembled here, and we're going to have a ton of fun. That much I know.
Show
Let's
number
fire away.
1.
What?
Show number 1.
Show number 1.
Here we are.
Let's do it.
Bing, bang, boom. Fair enough. We'd love to hear from you. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talking text line. And I mean, whoo, baby.
Oh, yeah.
We're lighting them up today. But we are very happy to be moving on to Chapter 2, if you will, or 12, depending on your perspective.
It's Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder. 92 KQRS.
Modern English, I melt with you. If you're going to be a one-hit wonder, have a wonderful one hit.
Yeah.
Nice job, Modern English.
There is nothing wrong with that. Unfortunately, it makes me think of Burger King.
Well, that's one thing wrong with it.
Whopper. It was a Whopper song for like almost the entire 90s, I think. It was their, like, now I
see. That's
can't
funny.
think of anything. I can't get off of that.
What's wrong with thinking about Whoppers?
Well, there's that too.
I mean, you don't think it kills the song a little bit?
I don't even. I guess I missed that whole TV era. I would have never in a million years related that to an ad, but I know I saw that. I mean, when you said that, I went, "Oh yeah."
You were probably playing
I had
a gig in London, though.
I had the song for years in my life before that would have ever happened. Summer of '82 and into '83 when that was out, the movie Valley Girl, Nicolas Cage movie, that song's prominently featured in there, along with some Plimsolls, Chestnuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I Melt With You definitely. I mean, it just jumped out. There was I had the 45. I was not a 45 I wasn't buying 45s. I was an album kid.
Yeah.
But I heard the Modern English album and went, oh, I'm just going to get the 45. I'll just say it. I just didn't. Nothing else jumped out to me.
I think in this case that's totally fair.
But that 45, when I was my first year of college, I mean, it was worn out. I could listen to that song. I just heard it now, and I'm like, there I am. I'm falling in love with my college girlfriend, and I'd be like, I just need a little time to myself and my Modern English record to see if this is really how I feel. Absolutely spectacular tune. I don't know a thing about that band. Never occurred to me to Google them and go, where are they from? What was their story? Who are they? I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
It's like that song it answered all questions I had. Just play that one tune. Always works for me.
I heard that album and I decided to get the
That's
45.
Right. That's it, man. You know, I as much as I respected it, I was like, yeah, but why? I'm gonna waste the other 9 or 10 or 11 songs on there. I'll just get what I want to hear. I'm all for, you know what? And that's my right as a fan. I can pick and
100%.
choose as I like.
And if I think of Grease, that's what I think of when I hear that song. It's just Grease, MSGs and sodium.
You know what though? Come on, we can all admit there's been times when really a Whopper saved our day.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Sesame seed bun. Let's go.
First album I ever had, thankfully, was not a Modern English album. Your first album, not the first album you ever had, but see, I have a different situation than most because I had so many older siblings, but you were the oldest.
Right.
So your first album that you actually purchased yourself. Let's just go there. Not a hand-me-down.
The one that I purchased myself with allowance was Thriller by Michael Jackson.
Oh.
You were
Still have it too, by the way.
I would hope so.
Yeah,
you and 75 million other people have a copy of that album.
And it has stickers of Michael Jackson with a tiger all over the inside of it. So I don't think anybody's ever going to actually want it. But
so you were
give it to my kids.
You jumped in to the big leagues with your first album purchase.
It was
a big deal.
And that's why I said earlier that Lollapalooza '92 was such a big show for me, because I was just whatever was spoon fed to me by Top 40 Radio.
Sure,
that's what I was into.
Of course,
I didn't think for myself prior to that. And so Michael Jackson's Thriller was it.
On
Ryder?
vinyl, or did you get the cassette?
No, vinyl. I still have the vinyl.
Very
impressive.
OG.
Yeah, the OG.
Very
it's in decent shape.
The first album I ever owned, I won it as a door prize at my older brother's basketball game. So I was 5, or this would be 71. So I was about to turn 6, and they called out my little ticket number, halftime of a community college basketball game, and it was my ticket, and I couldn't believe it. And I walked down the bleachers, and the guy handed me a copy of a Bee Gees album called 2 Years On, 1971. So the song "Lonely Days" was the hit from that record.
Okay.
And I walked back to my seat. I was holding like a tablet, like I was Moses with the commandments. I was like, "Oh my God, behold my album!" And before I played it, I loved it. I loved every song. I loved every second of every song. Got home, played it, and I wore that thing out for about a month. So much so that my mom then bought me Best of Bee Gees, their first greatest hits. Now I had 2 Bee Gees albums going. Again, one stereo for the 8 Gorman kids in the house. Mm-hmm. And my older brother, Tom, after about a month, walked up to me, and he had 3 Beatles albums. And he goes, "Stop with the Bee Gees!" Yeah. And he handed me Help, Rubber Soul, and Meet the Beatles. And I was like, okay, cool. And so from that day on, I went full Beatles. I was just I still love the Bee Gees, but it was all Beatles. And so shortly after that, I had a $5 bill in my possession. I have no idea where it came from, but I knew that was enough to buy an album. And I went to a store called Drug Fair. That was a chain. It was like a Walgreens or CVS, but it was called Drug Fair.
Yeah.
Think about that name today. Let's go to Drug Fair.
Yeah.
You'd think you were in Amsterdam.
I'm kind of surprised it doesn't exist, actually.
It's a self-contained, self-governed section of Copenhagen called Drug Fair. It's actually a place called Christianstad. It's a deep reference. And I walked into Drug Fair and I picked up Beatles 6.
Oh, wow.
And I paid $4.44. That was the price.
Just enough
I remember
money.
it was like, and I had 50 cents left over. That was a couple Slurpees, and some and a bazooka big bubble thing.
Lots of deals at Drug Fair.
Lots of deals at Drug Fair.
Got
So
all of
that was it. Beatles 6, which had, the American versions of Beatle albums were just all thrown together. They weren't the same as the English releases. So Beatles 6 had 8 days a week. That was a big hit.
Okay.
But it had like Kansas City, Dizzy Miss Lizzie, Yes It Is. It's a kind of an odd, if you look at that track list now, you're like, that's really bizarre. You can tell some people who worked at a record company put that together as opposed to a band.
100%.
But of course I wore that record out too. I just nonstop. Had to replace Beatles, but I have all those albums still, the original ones. I still have all of those in the crate.
Proud of you.
And I had some. I when I was in college, I had a few crates of albums, and somebody stole a couple crates of records. Oof. At a party, just like a bunch of people in the house. And one day I woke up and I'm like, where are my records? And they were gone.
Old school original pressings, I suppose, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, fun.
But they were, of course, alphabetically, and he left the top of the alphabet alone. So my Bee Gees and Beatles I still have to this day.
Nice.
Wow.
So that person out there who stole my records, I'm still waiting for you.
It's going to happen. Something if it hasn't caught up already, it will.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Good morning. I am a little over 2 years into my tenure in the Twin Cities, and never more happy to be here than I am today.
It's all because of me.
No.
Okay.
I'm thrilled to be.
It's day one. Can we just go with that?
It's day one. I'm very excited about where we're moving, where we're headed. We got a lot of great energy and a vision for the future, as they say. Yeah. I think that rock music has forever and will forever be a relevant cultural force.
Here, especially
in the planet that I live on, always. But that does involve a continued and necessary evolution. And to your point, Ryder, Minnesota has contributed mightily to the musical landscape of the last few decades. As I said earlier, punching way above its weight, in fact. I mean, for a state with, 5 million people?
Yeah.
We've turned out 5,000 great bands. Way ahead of the average, if you will.
5,000? Wow. That's
something.
a lot.
Give or take. Give or take.
5,000 plus prints.
It's a good thing. And so we welcome your thoughts on the KQ Talk and text line 651-989 Rock, and we've already received many. And I just want to say this one more time. There's a lot of people who've been with the station for decades, and we are very thankful for that. And a lot of people are not thrilled to hear something's changing, and to them we say thanks. I mean, the passion, more than anything else, has come out. And it's not just for KQ, but it is just for rock music. What the music continues to mean, more importantly than any one station or any set of folks on air talking about it, the passion for music in this area is unlike any place I've ever lived, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it. And as we move forward, I'm going to scream land ho and ahoy bitches a lot. So let's just get on it.
And I would say if you're somebody that's not thrilled today or on the fence, we're creating something together. Like, we're not even entirely sure where everything is going, and that's where you come in. And so, you know what? We're going to have a blast. Come along for the ride. Give us a shot. Maybe you're going to love it.
The journey is more important than the destination.
So profound. Did you think of that one yourself?
I don't know. It's Zen or Tao or Confucius or some smarty pants said that once, and I think he made sense.
Yeah. So I have a question. Is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, is this a journey or a destination or both, maybe?
I don't know. I'll let you know in a few weeks.
Right?
We'll see.
Yeah.
I can say that it's something I did. I'm of two minds, or it sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but I can tell you very sincerely, never thought about it twice in terms of the Black Crowes, my former band, because I just didn't think there was a possibility. Looking at who gets in and how they get in, commercial success, the Black Crowes are one of those bands who I view it as we were always a lot bigger than we actually were. The perception was out there. People knew the band. We made such a splash early in our career that as the 90s waned and we went into the 2000s, the band was, for a lot of those fans, kind of invisible for a long time. But and so I just look at who gets in, and I just never thought it would be something that we would be nominated for. And so, and I wasn't bitter about that. It was just reality. That's what it was. Okay. But then when we got nominated, I was very pleasantly surprised. And like every music fan, I've taken shots at the Hall of Fame for who's in, for who's not in. But I'm not doing that as a member of a band. I'm doing that as just a fan. Everybody does. Yeah. But the second they said, hey, you guys are nominated, I was like, well, cool. All right. And now I look at it. We'll find out soon, I guess, sometime this month is when they're going to announce who's going in.
Fan voting wraps up on April 21st. I have been voting daily, and I still can't get you past Chubby Checker.
Well, come on. I mean,
I'm working all the angles.
And we're doing that. We're trying to scoot past him. Excuse me. Hey, let me just scooch on by.
It's right there in the name.
Yeah. See, that's it.
You can't get around that guy.
Trying to get him to turn sideways, and he won't do it. Just can't get around him in line.
That's going to help. Might get worse, actually.
I like everybody, was surprised to see Chubby Checker nominated. And maybe it's my own ignorance, but the one song, right? I mean, there was the twist and then a couple of variations.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's obviously that one song has had a profound impact on music. But we're just talking about the replacements not being in.
Yeah.
This is the case right here.
No, that'll still, that's nails on a chalkboard to me. Like there are certain.
But I'm
bands.
saying we're talking about Chubby Checker right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And the replacements.
Yeah.
Like, I think that those two, it's not even close.
In
no
terms
no offense to Chubby.
No, I get it, and I'm all for the original art, the building blocks of early rock and roll,
100%.
all that kind of stuff.
Sure,
but the ones that I would think of for the most part are in. You know, the true. The actual artists of that era. Chubby Checker, I wouldn't say he's an artist. I think he was a performer. He hit
fair.
it. He hit it big with a song.
Yeah.
sort of like the Monkees.
But he's kind of like modern English. He had that one song, and it's great.
Yeah.
But that was it.
That's it.
He sold a few 45s for
Yeah.
that one tune. And by the way, that has nothing to do with the fact that he's still ahead of my band in the fan voting. Because we're ahead of Oasis, and Oasis is a hell of a lot bigger than the Black Crowes ever were.
Dude, and the White Stripes.
And the White Stripes.
Yeah.
So
and
it's-
Outkast and Oasis and Joy Division. You know, like
No,
holy
it's
smokes.
crazy. When you talk about impact and influence, Joy Division,
New Order
/ New Order. I mean, countless. I don't know. You know, everybody knows those records that's making music themselves. Anyway, all this to say, the main reason I want to get in is because, and I haven't approved this with anyone, but I'm just declaring it. We're all going to L.A. We'll do the show from L.A. if that happens. So, you know,
I'm in.
pack a bag.
All right, okay. I need
Four
to
in the
start
morning,
voting.
West Coast time, dude.
I've done it before. It's
know
all
you
right. You know what? It's called playing an all-nighter. You don't go to bed. You just stay up, and then the show's a little punch drunk. You're a little sloppy, but it's good. It's a good time. It's a fun time for all
It's
of
good
us.
to play on rails every now and then,
And
right?
it will be a good time for all of us. We're so happy to have you with us on this Thursday, April the 3rd. And especially right now, I just want to give a quick shout out to Chisago City.
Nailed it.
Our friends in Chisago City are thrilled that I finally pronounced it right. It's taken me this long to just let it roll just like that. That's a pretty exciting moment. So you know what to do. You know what to do with that information. 651-989 Rock. If you got anything else you want to share with us, call and or text. This is Minnesota's 92 KQRS.
It's Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman.
Oh, yeah.
This is Gorman in the morning, and that, my friends, was Prince. Oh, you know, you can hear a song a million times, and the million and first time you're like, oh my God, that's amazing.
You know, every now and then it just hits right.
It just hits right.
And that
headphones help.
Yeah, for sure.
Headphones help.
And the guitar speaks for itself in that song, by the way. It does a lot of talking.
How many times did you see Prince live, if ever?
Zippo.
Ryder?
I got skunked, too.
Man, I saw him twice.
Yeah?
And the first time I saw him was at Paisley Park. It was during the NBA All-Star Weekend 1994. A midnight show, which actually started more like at 2 a.m., for the NBA, like a private thing there with. So not only did I see Prince from 5 feet away because I walked right up to the front of that room and stood right at the front of the stage, but I was standing next to like Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson and Julius Erving and all these people that were there.
My language.
And I was just like, okay, this is the greatest night of my life. I'm surrounded by NBA players and I'm watching Prince. And the show was, as I've said from that day on, it's not on my list of greatest concerts I ever saw because it can't compare to, and nothing else compares.
Yeah.
There's that show, and then there's all the other shows I've ever seen. It's the Border Collie at the dog park. You're like, that one's different than all these other ones. That Border Collie is acting. He's a whole different breed, if you will. But that show was truly mind-boggling. And at some point, he played every instrument during the course of the show, not unusual. A second drum kit popped up, and then he and his drummer at the time, Michael Bland, traded fours, as they call it.
A drum off?
Dueling drum off. And Michael Bland, who plays with Soul Asylum now and has for many years, a big part of Prince's New Power Generation band, one of my favorite drummers, and he's a local legend himself. And Prince is like, I was like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Prince kind of beat Michael Bland out right there. That doesn't add up. That's not how that's supposed to go. Truly spectacular. And then I saw him a few years later. I saw him another tour where it was just like a greatest hits tour.
Okay.
And there was a lot of that show where it was just Prince on a grand piano playing. and he was going like full Jerry Lee Lewis with the elbows and jumping on the piano and dancing around. And at the time, I remember thinking, like, how does he do all that in heels? How are you doing that in those platform heels? That can't be easy.
That's an interesting thought to have in that moment.
Hey, man.
The heels were forefront.
Watching all those moves and everything like that, absolutely spectacular. Speaking of Michael Bland, who plays with Soul Asylum, Dave Pirner was on the show a little earlier today.
So great.
The Gorman in the Morning podcast, a full-length, long-ass conversation with Dave Pirner.
Unedited, uncut.
If you want the whole thing,
you got to go hear about the tear gas. Sorry, you got to go hear about the tear gas. I didn't mean to cut you off, but you got to go hear about the tear gas.
You can always cut me off if you have tear gas to discuss.
Well, and the other shenanigans that were going on in the crowd too. Remember that?
There were plenty of things to discuss.
That is something we are keeping off the radio, but definitely including on the podcast. I think Dave Pirner and I are both going to say PDA, a concert pet peeve, but his way more extreme than mine.
Way more extreme.
Yeah.
Way
That's
more extreme.
Beyond PDA.
Gorman in the morning on Minnesota's 92 KQRS. Day one in the books. Thank you guys for being with us. Why don't you come back tomorrow? We're going to do this all over again.
What? We're doing this again?
We have to, and it's all the same words. Don't worry. We'll have scripts. We'll just repeat ourselves.
I was under the impression that this was it.
Well, for some of us. Sorry. That's it. But hey, coming up next, our man Fletcher will be right back here with you on Minnesota's 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning is also Gorman on the go. Get the 92 KQRS app and stream live or catch the Gorman in the morning podcast anytime. 92 KQRS.